Welcome to the Let's Talk Paralegal podcast, where the legal industry gets real. I'm your host, Eda Rosa, legal consultant, speaker, and founder of Eda Rosa LLC and the Limitless Paralegal Academy. This isn't your stuffy legal studies school lecture. We're talking mindset, money, modern workflows, and how to build a career and a life you don't need a vacation from. Let's cut the fluff, raise the bar, and change the game one conversation at a time. If you like what you hear, feel free to share and send us your feedback. Now let's talk paralegal. In this episode, I'm joined by Brenna Crowson, a paralegal who embodies what it means to be both a teacher and a lifelong student in this profession. Brenna's career is a testament to the drive, resilience, and skill it takes to stand beside clients facing powerful forces while delivering exceptional legal service every step of the way. Listen in for more. Welcome to the Let's Talk Paralegal podcast. I'm Eda, your host, and today we have Brenna, which we were having a moment before we recorded, and maybe if we get to the episode, we can talk about that. But for now, I want to talk about Brenna and who she is. And it's amazing how, before we get into the episode, but it's amazing how people just come to you or you connect and it just clicks, right? Like sometimes it's a great way to connect and collaborate. And sometimes not, we got to be real with ourselves. But most of the time, at least in my case, I think I've attracted, or our brand and our company has attracted the right people and the right clients. And I believe it's about our topic today, right? It's like we are students, but we're also teachings. But before we get into that, Brenna, tell us about you and your beautiful light.
Wow, thank you. And it's so true that it's a very wonderful thing when you do find that connection, like you've known each other forever. And even if you don't know each other or haven't known each other forever, you could talk forever. And I feel like instantly we had that bonding that we could talk about anything and everything, legal related and not, you know, for probably as long as we wanted to, as long as our voices
This
would
is true.
work. So I share in that connection with you. I I'm very happy to be a part of your podcast. It is a privilege, and I've had the opportunity to listen to a lot of them. So I really do appreciate this time with you. I actually came into the paralegal world in a really different way than probably many of your listeners. I I do have a background in business and law by education, but when I started a family, I realized that that would be my main focus. And so I shifted gears a little bit into the fitness world that accommodated that time in my life and became a personal trainer, group fitness teacher, really all things fitness. That was part of my world for probably close to 22 years or so, 25 years.
Wow.
And around age 56, I'll be 70 next year. I'm just going to claim it. October 1st is my 70th birthday.
All right, y'all need to watch this video because she don't look anything 70. That, oh my
Yes,
goodness. No,
I'll
there is
be
no filter.
70. I
What?
know. It's
That
almost
was such a
funny.
mic drop moment.
Well, thank you. But just being vulnerable because I'm really enjoying all the things my life has offered me to this point and looking forward to the things yet to come. So around age 56, a gal that I worked with, her husband was an attorney in personal injury, was about to release his current paralegal. They just weren't mixing and it wasn't a good fit. And she kept saying, Kurt, you need to hire Brenna because she'll be phenomenal as your paralegal. And so he called me and he said, let's meet for lunch. Here's the good, the bad, the ugly, and I'll teach you everything. So in that moment, at age 56, I thought, I'm ready to pivot and take a sabbatical from personal training, from fitness, and see where this might lead me. And so I agreed to go to work for him, and he trained me that whole first year. And for anyone that's listening and you're in your first year of being a paralegal and you feel overwhelmed, once you say out of this, that's very normal. And it really takes at least a year to even feel like your feet are on solid ground, maybe. So I just continued working as paralegal, and that was 12 years ago, 13 years ago. Gosh, holy cow. That's
I
gone
mean,
fast.
you just said you were 70. That is crazy. I'm still like
Yeah,
in awe. I don't think I heard anything after that. Like that was just like, wait, what? That is just phenomenal. And you know what? Kudos to Kirk for taking the time to train you because a lot
yes,
of lawyers don't. A lot of lawyers are either a sink or swim situation, which is why we have our company, which is why we come in and we're the lifesavers of those sink or swim situations. We train and create processes and operations for that because we understand that sometimes that's not a feasible thing for
right.
lawyers. They can't find the time, or they don't really know how to manage the time to where that actually makes it a feasible thing, right? So
Yes.
kudos to Kirk.
He
Yay. We're
was
gonna give him a
and
hundred.
he was just a kind, patient attorney, which
I
also
love
is a
that.
rare characteristic, I think, for but just because of the
Yes.
nature of what they've got to do, honestly.
It's okay.
And
You're on the
yeah,
right podcast for that.
okay, well, good, good, good. And thank goodness for you, because I wish I had known about. I wish you existed when I first became a paralegal, because that, my gosh. Well, Kurt, long story short, he retired about a year and a half after I went to work for him.
Oh, sad
And
face.
yeah, it was really sad face, because he was like my security blanket. I knew I could go to him with any question and not feel like it was a stupid one, or that he would push me aside, and so
Yeah.
when he retired, it was, there are just times in our lives when it's right to move on. And I shifted to the law firm that I work with now. I just had my ninth year anniversary with this firm. And culture, support, all the things that make this time sustainable. I'm very thankful to be in that location, because I have all of it with this law firm. So that's really a wonderful thing as paralegal. And and I had to really start over learning, actually, because I now was working in a position for on the defense side, which is a whole different set of skills than what I had learned as a plaintiff's paralegal. And
Yeah.
and it's an eminent domain, so it wasn't even in personal injury. So I had also
Mm.
to learn a different side of the law. I had to learn a different side of what it meant to be a paralegal in a defense part of a practice, and learn all the ins and outs and language and vocabulary of eminent domain. And so I basically started over 9 years ago, and had a tumultuous beginning with my attorney. And so I think because of that beginning, that really shaped a lot of my personality, my functioning as a paralegal to this moment. The
Mm.
conversation he and I had, I think he was a little frustrated that I wasn't picking up things maybe the way he wanted, or I don't know. But I said, you know, here's what I would share with you. I am new to this side. You know that. You can cultivate the kind of paralegal that you want. Teach me the way you want me to do it. So rather than look at it as a liability, look at it as an opportunity. I am smart, I will learn fast, and I'm very passionate about doing things right. Know that I will take the responsibility to learn if you're willing to teach me. And you could see these little woo going on in his head. And that was really a shift in our teacher student relationship, I think, as a attorney paralegal. Then the next shift happened as he was saying, "Oh, yeah, that's right. You never went to paralegal school. You're not certified. You don't know this."
Hmm.
So I
What
was
does that
like,
have to do with anything?
"Yeah, well,
I mean, no offense to anybody
exactly.
that is, because I have the
Yeah,
certificate, I have all of that, but it doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with your
no."
talent.
And it was just a thing that came out that he wasn't really thinking how that could be harmful to me, maybe, in my confidence as paralegal. So what I decided to do was study. I could grandfather in North Carolina to sit for the paralegal bar exam, the exam through the NC bar. and um, and passed it. And so that kind of put that bit of conversation to rest. But the other thing it did do, because I learned a whole lot that wasn't really necessarily related to eminent domain, but just in general, the things I needed to know as a capable paralegal. It really did help me to do that. So my
Awesome.
confidence kind of grew from there. But that's where I am to this day. And I I think the odd position I'm in is at age almost 70 and almost 10 years with the firm is deciding how to recognize that time when it's time to pass the torch. At this moment in time, I will tell you, I am far from being ready. I love what I do, and I love, because of our topic today, the very piece of being the teacher and the student
Mm.
lights me up. And it's hard for me to envision not having this piece in my life, at least right now.
Mm. I love that. That's so beautiful. And I think we never stop, right? We never stop being the teacher or the student, but it's knowing when to be the teacher and when to be the student, right? Because you cannot be both at the same time unless it's through a conversation, through a lesson. I remember last year I graduated with my master's in law,
Ah,
and one of my
congratulations.
professors, thank you, and one of my professors said, what did they say? They said something that was not correct. And I knew that. Like, I knew it wasn't correct because the laws had just changed. And I knew that because I was literally taking a CLE for it,
Yeah.
for one of my other clients that wanted me to take the CLE for them so that I can teach them, basically, is
Hmm.
what was happening. But anyways, I was like, no, that's no longer accurate. Like the laws changed. We're now it's this and blah blah blah. So I got to the point where I was like, I don't want to embarrass the professor in front of the entire class, but I do want to let them know, hey, by the way, that is not accurate anymore. Like the laws have changed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I
So what'd
private
you
messaged
do?
him. I private messaged him because it's all virtual, kind of like what we're doing now.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so in the chat box, I private messaged him because that was one of the
Oh,
professors, one of the few professors that would give us like a 5 minute break in the
right.
4 hour long course. Um, and so in that 5 minute break, I sent it to him and I said, hey, by the
Oh,
way, here's the new laws and this is kind of what's happening and this is the CLE I'm taking in order to learn
mhm.
more. I don't know everything about it, but I do know that what you said is no longer accurate. And so that was it. He said, thank you so much. You're absolutely 100% in the right. I appreciate it. And once the 5 minute break was over, he went back to that slide and he said, I have to give thanks. And he called out my name to Eda,
Oh,
for blah, blah,
cool.
blah, for,
Yeah,
letting me know. And I was like, but if I would have done it differently, if I would have been like, hey, by the way, that's not right,
yeah.
hello, excuse me, in front of everybody, it probably wouldn't have been received very well, or maybe would have been condescending. And that's part of the growing process, right? We
Sure it is.
all go through things. Trust me, the old me, like if you talked to me 5, 10 years ago, I would have been that person. I would have been that student. I would have been like, excuse me.
Hello. That's not right. And we
Yeah,
all
so
know those
having that happy
people. Yeah.
balance,
Yeah.
having that balance, knowing your audience, right, at
Yeah.
all times,
That's exactly
in
right.
whatever room you're in, even if it's your
Yes.
family, even if it's your group of friends, your
Sure.
friends, your family, their triggers, they are the way they are. You're not going
Absolutely.
to change them. It's just,
Nope.
that's life, okay? They will
Yep.
change on their own time if they so choose to.
That's
Um,
exactly, that's 100% true. And that you make a really good point that simply because the professor was in a professor position doesn't mean that someone with less experience or a different position can't come in with information that the teacher could learn from the professor. Like you said, you just went through the course and you learned it. So a lot of times we might find that we are students from our clients who are just going through some things that, and maybe in terms of technology, boy, technology is a big thing right now, that what we used to know last year, you can't rest on your laurels anymore. AI is changing all of that. And someone may be less experienced as a paralegal, but more experienced in the AI department because they've just gone through training. And
Mhm.
so our learning can come from the top down. It can also come from lateral. It can come in a variety of different ways. So, I think that also helps keep your ego in check to know that, hey, I might not be the most up to current date knowledgeable person, and I can learn from other people as
Yeah,
well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And but it's okay. And it's all about awareness at that point. It's all about, there's three things that I always tell the people that I coach or the teams that we train. And it's like our core principles, right? It's
Hmm.
you're never too good for anything. And I
Hmm.
always use the
Right.
example. I was second, I was 2 years in as a litigating paralegal. I was about 5 years in as a paralegal. Okay. And so it was my second year as a litigation paralegal. I had my own caseload, I had my own clients. I basically ran the show when it came to my caseload, right? And the attorney would
Yep.
just co-sign here and there.
Yep.
So, great. It was real estate law, so it wasn't overly complicated at that point. Now it is, but back in when I was doing it, it was very simple. And so I have a stack of literally, I will never forget this day. I was in my early 20s. I had just gotten married. I was like about 25. I was 25 or 26 years old.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
And yeah, it was my first time actually litigating case files for real estate because I had done, personal injury, I had done civil
Hmm.
litigation, all the general stuff, but I had never done real estate litigation, a whole different ballgame, like you were saying.
Sure. Right.
And so I'm there and I have a stack of folders and I'm trying to balance them, right? Because I had like five of them in my hand. I'm this little skinny little thing and I'm just focused. I'm trying to get through the lobby to get back to my desk because the attorney just literally had reamed me a new one.
Oh
And
gosh.
so I was not in the mindset, right? I was just like, I just got to get back to my desk and I got to do this.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so I have these, five files in my hands, super heavy files too. And I see this gentleman in the lobby, which is where our reception area is. I then get out of my, like, whatever it was, that mindset. And I was like, what is this gentleman doing here? We all had badges and stuff. So obviously I knew he wasn't an employee. I would have probably
Right.
known who he was.
Oh
And so
my gosh.
he's just in despair. Like you can tell he's just in this like disparity. The receptionist, one was at lunch, the other one
Oh,
had just gone to the bathroom.
yeah.
And I was like, hold on. So I put my five files, I put them on top of the reception desk. And I said, excuse me, sir, is there something I can help you with? And he's like, five people have passed by this lobby. No one has stopped. And I was like, well, I
Oh,
stopped. So how can I help you?
right.
And
I'm
he's
here.
like, I'm here,
Yeah.
and this and that. And he's like, I'm trying to see ba 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 ba, this and that. And so I know how to get into the system. So I went into the system. I started trying to help him out. I called and paged because we had like a pager system. I
Right.
paged the case manager of his particular case and his particular matter. And he's like, thank you so much. He's like, I
Oh,
was about to fire this firm because I wasn't getting the respect that I wanted and this and that and blah blah blah. But you saved them. So as soon as the case manager came, I waited for the case manager to come. I did not want to leave him
sure.
alone.
Sure.
And so I waited for the case manager. Meanwhile, I'm still trying to go through my stuff, right? Like I had, my attorney just reamed me, like,
Yeah.
broke me, right? So I'm
And
like, I'm still trying to get over what just happened. And
sure.
I'm helping this gentleman out, and the case manager's like, I'm so sorry, I didn't know you were waiting. Nobody had paged me. And I was like, the receptionists are not here. One's at lunch, the other one just went to the restroom. So he just
Right.
came at this like awkward moment
Weird
where there was
time.
really
Sure.
nobody there. So
Yeah.
anyway, I go back to my desk and he gives me a hug and everything. Like this gentleman was so grateful for me
Oh,
assisting him, and all I did was get a hold of somebody and give him
right.
time. And so I always use that story as an example. Like nothing is beneath you. If you
Right.
need to be the receptionist for 5 to 10 minutes,
Be the
be the
receptionist.
receptionist. If
Yes.
you need to clean something, something's spilled, get the mop and clean it. Like,
Right.
I don't understand where this concept came of the
Not my
ego,
job. Yeah.
not my
Yeah.
job, not my responsibility. I
Right.
have never said that in my 20 plus years as a legal professional, not even as the boss, okay? I now run a five-person team
Yeah.
growing, but it's like, I would never, like, if I need to respond to that email because my reception, my legal assistants are out or my,
You're
whoever's
gonna
out,
do it.
I'm
You
gonna
do
do
it.
it. Like, who
Yeah.
cares? If
Yeah.
I need CRM system, I'll do it. Like there's
Oh,
nothing wrong with you getting something done. Like let's just get it done. I don't understand and I don't know where this concept came from because if you look at other teams, if you look at medical teams, if you look at sports teams, they're all working together to get the
and pick
client
up the
cured or the
slack,
patient,
right?
to get to the championship, to get to the,
Yep,
win.
yep,
Whatever it is, everybody's
yeah,
working together. It is one coherent team. And
right.
without one, something is going to fail. So
That's
it's like
right.
you have to kind of, where did that mentality, get lost in translation in the
You
legal
know, I
industry?
don't know exactly what it meant or happened, but it is very prevalent, I think, in many law firms. The thing that I would say about the specific team I work with right now is is exactly what you described. I feel like every single person on my team has my back. And every person on my team knows that I've got their back. And where one of us is out, we had a situation where just like 2 weeks ago, I had to fly home to be with my daughter for a week, and that was a week. It just happened. We had a hearing coming up, and notebooks needed to be prepped for that. Well, one of the other paralegals had a sick family member here in town. She left her sick family member to go to the office to get these notebooks prepped for me, because
Wow.
that's just the way we all have functioned with each other. And thankfully, I mean, I think this talks about the lateral teaching part, that there were enough pieces in place that she felt comfortable doing it. It wasn't such a foreign thing to her because we don't hoard what we know. And that's
Mm,
a key thing, I think, is that you knew this gentleman needed help. You stepped in to do it, and the end result was really good, even while you had this other stuff going on. And how important is that, to have that mindset of not hoarding your little toughdom and never want to step off of it, but to realize
mm.
that it's really a big toughdom, and this the bigger the toughdom and the more cohesive the team, really the better you are as a team.
Hey Legal Pros, are you ready to stop playing small? The Limitless Paralegal Academy is officially open, offering powerhouse courses, real world tools, and expert led training to help you build the career and life you actually want. We're not stopping there. The Limitless Paralegal Tour is hitting the road. We're bringing the mindset shifts, career strategies, and community straight to your city with epic speakers, actionable sessions, and zero boring PowerPoints. This isn't your average CLE. This is your legal career reimagined. Join the Academy, meet us on tour, become the legal pro everyone remembers. Visit limitlessparalegals.academy.com to enroll and grab your ticket now. Be bold, be brilliant, but most importantly, be limitless.
You
Yeah, that's
know?
why we promote cross training so
Yep,
much because
yep.
everybody needs to know what everybody's doing. Not because we're nosy, but because if somebody's out sick or somebody has an emergency, we all need to know what to do. Like
Well,
there's,
yeah.
the train's not going to stop. Like we need to
Nope.
repair the track and keep going. Like
That's
this is
exactly
not,
right. Yeah. And clients
it,
don't, not that they're not caring, but they don't, it's not their problem if we have personal stuff going on. That's
absolutely.
not why they hired us. They hired us because they have an issue, and they need to have confidence that we're going to be there to assist them in a
Absolutely.
professional way and
Uh,
consistent way.
I
So yeah,
love
I
that.
think I think that's and don't you know that when you feel like you have that kind of support laterally up and down, that you're happiest?
Hmm.
That
Yeah.
when you don't feel like you have it, then you're just, it's not the right fit. It's not the right
Right.
place. It's not the right
And that goes for
career.
both professional and personal, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because if you don't have a healthy support team, and I say healthy, I always add healthy because there
Hmm.
is a difference between having a support team and a healthy support team. If
Right.
you're constantly having to micromanage people or
Yeah.
constantly having to reiterate your boundaries, that's not a support team.
Oh,
That is just bad energy that you need to just cut out of your life. And there's a
right.
big difference.
Yeah.
So if you have a healthy support team that's honestly there because they love you and appreciate you and support you and want to be there, not because they
Hmm.
have to be there. They
Hmm.
want to do something. They offer their help because it's genuine, not because they feel they're obligated to
Obligated.
offer.
Right.
Things like that. And that's why I always say having a healthy support team is a
Yeah.
big, big difference. Everybody's like, how do you do it all on your own? I was literally recently, I just recorded this podcast, it's not even out. And the
Oh.
gentleman, it's always the men, right? Like, always the men have to act. Like, how do you do it all? And I'm like, I don't. Like, I am not a magician. Like,
Mhm.
I don't do it all.
Yeah.
God bless my mom. My mom's playing the role of my father because he's passed away. And so she's
Oh.
playing the role of grandma and grandpa on mama's
Mhm.
side. She's the nanny. She's she helps me clean the
Everything.
house and
The
do all the
rock.
things. And
Like
she's my
this,
rock.
the
Like,
rock.
if without
Yeah.
her, I wouldn't be able to do half of these things that I'm doing now.
Yeah.
She picks up the kids and takes them to
Yeah.
dance. And, my husband as well. He takes, our son just recently started baseball. He's taking them to the practices and the
Oh,
games and the
awesome.
things. And,
Yeah.
it's like you have to have an emotional support system. You have to have a
Yes.
physical support system. And sometimes
Yes.
that is not the same person or the
Oh,
same group, right?
that's
So
exactly
those are the
right.
things you need to identify. And that's
Yeah.
the things that we do with professional teams,
Right.
personal teams when we're doing coaching with paralegals. Like, we
Awesome.
really like veg in there and we're like, all right, we're gonna go, we're gonna have a lot of come to Jesus moments. So get ready, buckle out. Like, it's so funny because I have this paralegal that I've been coaching for, oof, I don't even know, like 3 years now. She's been one of my
Wow.
longest clients. But
Hmm.
she's like, I had two other coaches before you. And I was like, oh, really? What happened? And she goes, at the third or fourth session, I said, absolutely not. This is not going to work out. She's like, on
Really?
the first session with you, I knew this was it. Like, I found my person. And I
Yes.
was like, coaching is kind of like therapy, right? You're probably not going to get it right the first time. So you got to
Right.
figure it out. And it's like hobbies. Maybe you start a hobby and you're like, not for me. And then you go to another hobby. So I always feel like when you find your person, you find your person. And that goes
Hmm.
across the board. When you find your employer, you find your employer, your company, your
Yes.
organization, your collaboration, your platform. You
Yep.
know, you fill in that blank in every aspect of your life.
Yes.
So, having
So,
said that, how
yeah.
about we give this beautiful audience and wonderful supporting audience, we love you, love you, love you,
Love you.
a kind of a roadmap, something maybe that they can take away from this episode, maybe something that you've learned that you've carried on over these years since you have such an extensive background, maybe something from
Absolutely.
both worlds.
I have, and this probably would apply, 4 tips that I would I live by, but I think would also be helpful to share with everyone. The first thing is ask good questions.
Mm,
Don't ask a question just for the sake of asking it, but really think about what you're asking because that shows the depth of your thinking, the connection to what you're really trying to find out. So ask good questions. Then once you get the answers, share it freely. For all the things that
mm,
we've been talking about this whole podcast is the strength of your team is really dependent upon how you are willing to share what you know and are they willing to exchange information. So
I love
asking
that.
questions, share freely. And then this third one, stay curious.
Mm,
Stay curious. Eh, Finding ongoing ways to learn in both your professional life and your personal life. Because honestly, even if you have the best professional life, but your personal life is crappy in the moment, they really, you might not realize how much they interplay with each other but they do. And so as much as you can stay curious about not just work, but other stuff outside of work. I wanted to write a book about the loss of our son to help with others that might be going through that same journey. Well, I've never read a book before. So that was something that was a project of mine starting in 2022 and 23, and it actually rolled out last November on Amazon. So yeah, yeah,
Congratulations!
thank
I
you.
didn't know that. That's
Yeah, it's
amazing.
called The
What's the name of the
Healing.
book for those that are interested?
Thank you. The Healing Journey of Grief:
I
A
love
Roadmap
that.
to Hope.
I love that.
And boy, did I learn a lot. I learned. I feel as if I believe I write well, But in the editing process with the publishing company, I realized I have a lot to learn still. So
Yeah, I know.
I'm working on a series now. There will be 5 other books that are in the works to come out with that.
I love
So
it.
more
Oh
more
my
to come,
goodness.
but it's available on Amazon. If you search the title, you search my name, it's there. Then the
Awesome. Well,
fourth
we'll
thing,
find the link and we'll add it to the
oh,
description because I
awesome.
feel like
Thank
we
you.
have to promote the person as well. And
Thank
so that's
you.
what the podcast is all about, giving voices to the ones that probably don't have a voice or don't feel seen or heard. And
Yeah.
this is what Let's Talk Paralegal podcast is about. And mine, as you know, the third one that I'm writing now is about the silent burdens that the legal professionals carry, which is literally why
Wow.
I called it Silent Burdens. And
Wow.
so, understanding that there is
Mm,
diversity in within diversity. And by that I mean it depends on your background, languages you speak, how you were raised, what your family unit looked like. There's so many elements. Like the human is the most dynamic species on
complex.
Earth.
Yes.
Yes. And
Very.
so understanding that even scientists, the smartest people on Earth, the geniuses, the Einsteins and the Sigmund Freuds of the world, have not even been able to touch 1% of what the human brain actually is capable of. Okay.
And
We haven't even,
isn't
with
that
all the research
cool?
and the tools and the
Yeah.
science and all the things that we've progressed on, and this is why Elon Musk started the whole Neuralink. So if you guys are
Hmm.
interested in learning about that, he has a whole thing of Neuralink. It's to study the brain because we don't know a third of what our brain is capable of, why it's all these different neurons and nerves, and they still haven't been able to figure that out. Even brain surgeons themselves are still trying to figure it out.
It's
So understand
fascinating.
that we are
Yeah.
just very dynamic, very, colorful people,
Yeah.
and even scientists can't figure us out. So it's okay.
Yeah. So it's okay. The fourth thing to go with that, stay curious, like they're doing, checking brains, is to document what you've learned. So create
Mm,
your own learning library. And I think this is important because it gives you the opportunity to reference what you need to teach forward. And I would suggest dating it for the very reason that what you've learned last year may or may not be current now. And how fast are we growing with AI? I mean, you look at maybe the beginning of this year versus where we are now. Our firm just intentionally incorporated AI into everything that we do to be an assistant, a companion, not to replace us, but to
right.
really help us. I know, but and the ones that aren't going to do it, they are going to get replaced.
Yeah.
Just saying. But we've learned that. We're also in the midst of e-filing. We've got one more bundle of counties to come up in North Carolina in October to be fully statewide e-file. So we've had to learn that. Every county has a different process. We have to learn that.
Oof.
And
Yeah.
then within our firm as well, our case management system, they're getting ready to migrate to a new system next year. So we're starting to learn that. And I
Wow.
think, yeah, so truly everything that I knew last year, I'm still having to see if that's right. It may or may not be. So those are the things. Ask good questions, share freely, stay curious, and then create your own learning library. And
I
those would
love
be
that. I
the
love
tips
it.
I would share.
Oh my goodness, those are amazing. I think that's probably some of the best tips that we've had on the podcast so far. And
Oh,
we're
thank
already, what, 4 or 5 years in. So amazing. Thank you,
oh,
Brenna,
thank
for being
you.
on the podcast, for taking the time to speak with me and to speak
My
to our
pleasure.
audience. They are going to get so much out of this conversation because of
Oh,
you, and we greatly appreciate that.
well,
So
thank
until
you.
next
Thanks,
time,
Anna.
until justice is
Yay.
served.
Yes, absolutely.